What is going on, Phillies Nation? Welcome into the Fightin's Final here at the It's a Wrap Sports Network. I'm Big Al, bringing you the Fightin's Final for tonight's big win. Lot to talk about tonight. 7-0. Phillies hit double digits. They're 10-19 on the season. Nothing to get excited about there, but it's that whole Rob Thompson is no longer the manager. Everybody got what they wanted. Monday morning, they get to wake up and find, or Tuesday morning, they had to find out that he was released of his duties. And we have Don Mattingly as the Phillies manager, which is still kind of weird for me to say a little bit, but it is what it is right now. At least the interim manager apparently did reach out to Alex Cora, who just got fired by Boston for the same problem. And but he didn't want to take it. He wanted to take his time and I guess collected $7 million and go from there. But Phillies win 7-0 in a really good Phillies fashion, I guess is a good way of putting it. Like what we were used to be watching, not this year, of course. Great starting pitching, lockdown bullpen, and everybody getting on base. Like, wow. Listen, there's still some things to go through. And one game and an emotional game. This is an emotional game. I mean, listen, some people maybe didn't believe in what Tomper was selling them. Maybe some people didn't believe in Tomper as a coach anymore. Whatever it is, he still was your coach. He was still part of your career, especially for the young guys. And they have been successful up until the last year and a half with him. I mean, until it started the wheels started falling off. And in my eyes, more of a scapegoat firing, but we'll get to that all with as we talk a little further. But we're going to focus in on this game. 7-0 victory. First shutout of the year for the Fightins. That's saying something right there alone. Offensively, they looked better. Defensively, they looked better. They were more aggressive on the base paths. Even in the beginning of the game, even though Turner got out at third, the aggression was there. I didn't mind seeing it. It shows that they care. They don't seem lethargic. They don't seem out of sorts or anything like that. So tonight, I'm not decreeing them back or anything like that. But tonight, they beat the San Francisco, hello, Giants, 7-0 in a fairly convincing fashion, which we are not used to saying. And might I add, in the last two games that I've called, they are 2-0. Maybe I'm the good luck charm. We'll find out. But as a Friday, they won a game, and then so technically, I am 20% of their victories. So no, actually, I mean it might be more than that. Because I don't even know which other games I called. Like it's so long since I called a win before the last one. I don't know. I would have to go back and look. But comments in W for tonight's host. Yeah, like as for those who don't know, for Elephant in the Room, we keep track of the wins that we call. So like kind of like at the end of the year, some people are gonna buy a guy a steak type bet. So it's good for me right now. Hopefully it gets more interesting with more W's on the year for the Phillies in total. But let's just break this game down and we'll go over it together. And then we'll go over the happenings of the day, talking about the release of Tomper, the moving up of the interim coach, even moving up of some minor league coaches, some people who survived that maybe people don't agree with, all that kind of stuff we'll touch on a little bit tonight. But and they spread some of the hits out. Slow start for both teams till the Phillies got on the board in the fourth inning, and then they put 4 up in the sixth inning, and then 2 more up in the eighth inning for 7 runs scored on 11 hits and no errors. That's one of the big things. The no errors part was a plus tonight. So let's look at the box score for these boys, and then we'll go into the individual scoring. Trey Turner, who needed one of the people needed the most, it was good to see. This is a nice to see type of moment tonight. He was 4 for 5 tonight with 2 runs scored, 1 RBI, and 1 strikeout. Schwarber was 0 for 3 tonight with one run scored, but 2 walks. So he's getting on base. It's a plus in the right direction. Bryce had a good night too. A couple things I still would have, if I'm nitpicking, we'll look at, but he was 2 for 4 with a 1 run scored and an RBI tonight. Garcia had a decent night tonight, 1 for 3 with 1 run scored and 2 RBIs and 1 walk. And might I add, in the eighth inning, when him and Harper were running at the ball in foul territory, I might have heard Bryce Harper shit his pants because I looked like a Mack truck running right after him. But that's here nor there. Marsh 1 for 3 tonight with a 1-run scored and an RBI. Stott was 0 for 3 tonight with a walk, with 3 strikeouts, still struggling. And somehow he's above Bohm, I guess, because, 213 is better than 157, but whatever it is. 2 for 4 tonight for Alec Bohm. Had a big hit off the back center field wall. Got that scoring started. 1 RBI. Crawford was 1 for 4 tonight with a run scored and an RBI. So that was good to see from him. 2 strikeouts, but getting a little bit better at the plate. These kind of things I think affect the younger guys more than anybody because they haven't been around Topper as much, and they're there to prove something. And if they're not playing well, it's really hard. Like, you can be like, oh, Bryce Harper, he'll be good. You don't know if Crawford is going to be good or not. So I think those things do affect these younger guys a little bit more. Marchand was 0 for 3, but he got a walk, so everybody got on base. That was a plus. No JT, of course, he's still out with his injury. Don Mattingly 1-0 as Phillies manager. Adam Cease, yes, started now. He's going to go on a run, right? I mean, kind of what they did last time. They won an 8-9 game winning streak last time. They fired the coach in midseason. I hope this start gets Luzardo going. Yeah, I mean, the one thing is, there's a discussion. Was he tipping pitches again? Obviously not tonight. 7 innings pitched. 2 hits allowed over those 7 innings. No earned runs, of course. 8 strikeouts and 0 walks. He only threw 88 pitches. He could have gone another, inning, half an inning or something. Like, he really could have kept going, but, pulled him out while he's on top. Huge confidence builder. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But yeah, the Luzardo, man, just got paid. Hopefully him and pitching coach and Mattingly got together. I mean, according Dombrowski was, I'll give him a little credit. He was, he did come out and sit with Tom McCarthy in the beginning in the pregame stuff. Kind of got in front of it with everybody. I mean, listen, I know it's controlled and all that, but I give him a little credit for that. Didn't say anything of any real substance, but no, he did say though that Don did see some things he would like to change. Now, the lineup didn't look much different, but the lineup's a lineup, and that's on Dombrowski. I mean, some of these contracts, we could be, I'm not sitting there saying any good or bad, but really, I really worry about the future right now, what they would have to do to dig themselves out of it, something we're going to have to look at. Elephant in the room saying really crisp innings. Like, yeah, just the kind of what we were so accustomed to seeing. I mean, even though in 2024 and 2025, this team had its ups and downs, but you had games like this a lot. This is like a sweet treat if you have been on an all sodium diet lately, like, because it's been all negative. I mean, I tell you, like, was like thinking about retirement. They were that bad. Like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Like, I could just run the last thing on replay and just dub out the name of the teams and get the same results from everybody. It was all piss and vinegar, and I don't want to do that. And I'm not saying the team has to be good for me to want to cover it, but it's bad. Like, it not tonight, in a nutshell, made it fun. It seemed like interesting baseball. Little things, and I saw with Bryce in the beginning when the bases were when they in the beginning of the game when they had a chance to score some runs. Guys are on base, and Bryce is still trying to hit for distance, like trying to put it over the fence. Like, I would hope Don Mattingly say, guys, go back to the small things. Get back to the small ball. Get back to the basics. The big boppers you guys can hit. That hasn't changed. Stop trying to force it. Stop trying to force the narrative. Let it come naturally. And that's always what I've been saying. Like, I feel like I've been saying that for the last 2 years. But, it's something the team has to find out for themselves, I guess, is the best way of putting it. But like I said on the night, 32 at-bats, 7 runs scored off 11 hits, 7 RBIs, 5 walks, and only 6 strikeouts. So that's a plus. That's a plus for the strikeouts thing. Runners in scoring position were 5 for 11. At one point, they were 0 for 6 or something, 0 for 5, 0 for 6, but definitely turned it on. So that was actually a nice plus in the right direction, 5 for 11. Not something we're used to seeing. But let's talk about that pitching. Jesus Luzardo. all of them look really crisp, but Jesus Luzardo really just found a rhythm, and they even said during the broadcast, I don't know who the hitter was, but like just shook his head. He was hitting him with 99. He was challenging him. He wasn't worrying about guys are on base. He wasn't worrying about you know uh, tipping pitches, I guess. So he just seemed hyper focused. And again, I'm not blaming that on Tomper. You always know how these games go, a game or two. I mean, I think Boston won like 17-1 was the game after their changing of the guard. But Kirk Green came in. That was another big plus for me. One inning, he threw one inning and got 2 strikeouts. Very crisp. I saw him talk like I feel like just tonight. Again, nutshell. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but more talking in the dugout. We're talking to coaches. We're talking to each other. Didn't seem so solemn, so grim. I really want to see what Don Mattingly's, or he doesn't see so much as, but hear what Don Mattingly has to say. It's the only thing bad about doing these post games. I can't listen into the, it's one thing I miss about being in the locker room. The post game interviews. Like, it just has to be kind of like a, And again, I think everybody knows it was time for a change. And it's just, it's again, I don't blame. Topper was part of the problem. Don't get me wrong, and he would be the only person you could change right at this moment, and it could make an effective change in the locker room. Like, if any chance of any salvaging this year. But I put a lot of this on Dombrowski, and really, if John Middleton's doing can sack up a little bit, he could really start looking like getting some ideas. I know it's got to be hard to do. Like, you have a guy already in the wings, but you got to start looking. But I mean, Dombrowski said Tomper will be available for his normal media today, but he's on the phone over the weekend with Alex Carrera talking about, would he want to come manage the Philadelphia Phillies? I mean, again, not saying Alex Carrera, change of scenery, change of people, whatever, could make a difference. And whatever, he kind of hit a wall, kind of like Tomper did with Boston. But what are the optics of that? What are the optics of bringing a guy who literally just got fired for the same damn thing? Like, and because he's your buddy, he thinks you was a mentor. That's why you're doing it. Like, optics on that was a little. I mean, Dombrowski's not really helping himself. He's not really helping himself altogether with some of the things that he said. Mason would come in and shut the game out, 1 inning and 2 strikeouts. So only 3 pitchers tonight, 7 full innings for Luzardo. Gets his second win on the season. So to me, that's it's a really good start in the right direction. Hopefully it's something that wakes these guys up. Hopefully Tomper gets to watch this without hope being negative in the back of his head and enjoying the ride and knowing that he's going to hold records for the Phillies. He didn't get to the promised land, but I hate seeing guys get fired. I really do. It's just one of those things that irk me unless they deserve it. Don't get me wrong. There's people, and I was pounding my chest that he needs to go, but I remember adding in the fact it's more of a scapegoat if you want to make a change and salvage the season. And I'm glad it's only at the end of April versus waiting a whole other month, because this hole could have got worse. I mean, if they said, we're going to give you the month of May and you only win 5 more games, that's, there's no digging out that hole at that point. I mean, we always said you can't win the division in April, but you sure as hell can lose it. And you could go through May like that and it could be lose. Now, listen, we can go on a 5-game losing streak and just be back to where it is. I'm taking tonight under the microscope in a nutshell and enjoying the win and able to talk to you guys and having fun about the win. Everybody seems a little bit more quieter tonight. It's more like I think everybody's just sitting back going, okay. That's what a W feels like. W feels like close to another W. It's one more. You win that first thing now. Now let's go for the series. They've lost more series at home already this year by April 28th than they've lost all last year. I mean, if you want to really find the pixie dust or the fairy dust to give them any hope, maybe Maybe they needed to get scrappy again. Maybe they had to feel untouchable. Maybe they were getting to a point, this team, maybe part of that was the problem. They got this mentality. We're going to make the playoffs. We're that good. It's just, we just got to turn it on. We had some bad luck. Maybe they needed a kick in the old proverbial, groin of their egos. And wake up, guys. No, you're way wrong. No, nothing's given. And we're at that point. And look, you're dealing with some injuries. Even Stott came off touching his oblique. I wonder how Brandon Marsh is going to be feeling. He got cleated, and then he slid shoulder first into the foot of the catcher, which that can't feel good when you're running at top speed. JT's injured right now. So now you got Marchand and Stubbs doing catching, which Marchand's under 100. And Stubbs hasn't, Stubbs. So you're dealing with a lot. I mean, one good thing you got Zach Wheeler back, so hopefully he can continue to build off on his last game. But maybe they need a reality check. Maybe because it's a little nerve-wracking because some of the players are really good players. Like Stott and Bohm, I don't know what's going on with them. Bohm, if it's outside circumstances, if it's Stott just coming down to earth finally. But they have on paper some pieces that could be good. I mean, I wish Adam Miller was healthy. I wish we could have seen him in the spring training because, I think he'd be up here, at least off the bench, maybe giving Bohm a spell. I don't know. Watching Marchand swing a bat, it's like watching a dolphin trying to use a calculator. Wow, I'm going to steal that one. That's line of the night, Elephant. But yeah, I mean, play discipline. Like if you're having, I don't know, maybe it's just a little old school. And when I coached in the past and just knowing the game of baseball the way I do, and like when you're really struggling to play, sometimes just sitting watching pitches, not saying not to swing at them, but just try to get the ball good contact, get the ball in play, and let it come naturally. Like even if it's a bloop single, those things can turn into something. Again, is it the stress that the fans, the team, the ownership, knowing that this thing is imploding? It's April, it's late April going into May, and it's imploding. And we still got a lot of season ahead of us. If that puts a lot of stress on them, and then like sometimes you got to take the step back or that 40,000-foot view. So I mean, again, I made a joke this morning, and Elephant, I think you saw me. It wasn't a joke, but a comment this morning. Watching my boy Phil over on the setting the STP or SCT Sports Network with his great morning show, and I said, maybe they should put less into analytics and more into sports psychology because there is definitely a psychological component to this. So, maybe they can get their proverbial heads out of their asses and move forward. But we'll see. But overall, good pitching, good defense. Good offense, and it turned into a very smooth game now. The Giants aren't a world beater team, or fourth in the West, 13-16. Both teams are under 500. But they're doing better than the Phillies record wise. So win the series. Show the MLB that you're not a laughing stock of an organization. That you're not a bunch of overpaid Rockies. And prove to the fans, give them a reason to come down to the field. There's a lot more people at that field tonight than I expected to see. Now, granted, maybe the news of Don Mattingly's first game gave people the reason to come out. But, I mean, I was getting worried looking back, 2013, 14, 15, 16 seasons where things, you could hear crickets at the field. But, that's pretty much like what they need to do to walk forward, to move forward. So let's get to my Broad Street bottom line. Broad Street bottom line is brought to you by the great people of the It's a Wrap Sports Network right here. Yep. Plenty of to go tonight. I'm sure we're going to get Matty B's takes on this first game, and I'm sure he's going to make fun of me. Again, I'm taking this one game at a time. Just this game in a nutshell was just a nice breath of fresh air. I'm sure I'm going to hear about it tonight with Matty B. Tomorrow, you get the Pittsburgh Sports Desk post-game show, Flyers and Pens game, of course, post-game show, and the final word with Matty B. And that means you're getting a double dose of Matty B because you're going to have him do the Pens game, moving right to his final word show. And on the docket tomorrow, of course, is Mike with the Phillies post-game show. Hopefully, talking a series victory. Don't forget the other great shows. Of course, like I said, Pittsburgh Sports Desk. Thursday, you have a post-game show. I'll be back Friday night for the Philly Friday Frenzy / Fighting's final. So we'll talk a lot. We're going to talk a lot about how the Phillies are acting or reacting to the change. We'll talk about Eagles moving forward, looking, kind of dissecting the draft. Hopefully, it's discussing the Flyers victory because they got me a little nervous right now. And because if they don't win on Wednesday, tomorrow, they will have a game Saturday and there'll be a post game if necessary. And also starts the second game of the Marlins post game. And then the best it's a wrap starting 8 a.m. on Saturday of the week. Anything you missed, Matty replays for you. And don't forget, 9 a.m. I'm back with Mike Lauro at 9 a.m. for Philly, 9 a.m. for Philly AM Sports with Al and Mike. And Phillies Marlins post game as well. So check it all out, guys. We are here to serve your Philly sports and Pittsburgh sports need for those Yinzers out on the other side. And just kind of checking in here, the Sixers look like they're gonna stay off and make this series 2-3 if everything stays the same for the last 23 seconds. 113-97. I guess I was wrong about the gentleman's sweep, but I still will hold back any excitement or buying into anything Sixers right at this moment. But bottom line is kind of what I've already alluded to. We got to see where they go from here. It was a nice game in a nutshell. Can they start believing in what Mattingly is going to do? And the other part of it is most of this blame goes on Dombrowski. These contracts, like they should, the world of baseball contracts of 8 to 10 to 12 years needs to go. 5, maybe 6, depending on how old the guy is. Got a young, like Aiden Miller comes up. And what was it? The guy from Bonner, Delaware County boy, just signed with the. Why am I completely blanking out his name? Signed with the Tigers. I'm completely blank on his name. But he's young. And he is you could sign him for 6 or 7 years. He's not even 30 yet, so that's great. Man, Donnie Baseball shook up the lineup. Well, no, the lineup wasn't much different, but he kind of got maybe woke them up. Phillies are still fool's gold. Hey, listen, I'm not disagreeing with you, Mikey P. I am not disagreeing with you. But like I said, maybe the one thing that the Harpers, the Bohm, or the Harpers, the Turners, the Schwarbers, Garcia, maybe a little, not Garcia, he wasn't been here the last few years, but the other guys who automatically think postseason baseball is guaranteed. Maybe this was kind of they need to get back to that fight, that dog that they had in 22 and 23. That, they got knocked out at 23 because they were kind of cruising. Then they got let down, and they've always had this like kind of we deserve to be there kind of mentality. And I'm wondering, not saying it's a good thing, but if you want to take a negative and spin it into a positive, maybe, it'll wake them up. Again, I'm not sitting there buying into it. They still have a very tough sledding ahead of them. I mean, they could go on a 10-game winning streak and just be at 500 at 19-19. It's including tonight's winning. So they can go win 9 more games and see where we go from there. Phillies fire Rob wins and win. Phillies fire Rob wins 7-0 and B drops 33 to help the Sixers avoid elimination. Much needed W's for Philly sports tonight. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm not getting off on a different tangent, but I got to admit the Flyers have me a little bit nervous. It's one thing you win one game, you give them the gentleman's sweep. Now you give them the Penguins' life. They need to get back to that fight, that dog in the fight they had in the first 3 games. And I do not want to see this go to game 7. That's just kind of my one-off here. It's been clear as day for years this lineup needs a right-handed power bat, and Dombrowski has failed miserably at that point and should lose his job. Yeah, I mean, listen, and no offense to Adolis Garcia, at one point, I would have had him a few years ago. He probably would have been able to put us over the top of that strong right-handed, he's a beast, power hitter, and he plays a good defensive. I mean, the boy can run the right field. We saw him almost, train wreck with Bryce Harper. But we're always bargain basement shopping. Guys who used to be or could be or have the potential to be, and we can get them at a steal. We can get them at a discount or get them on a 1-year let's prove it deal. They haven't been able to successfully do anything with a right-handed power batter. And then you get overpowered by lefties. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I mean, Dombrowski, the only reason firing Tomper was probably the best idea right this moment, and maybe he knows he's gone. Or maybe he's just arrogant, or maybe he doesn't care. I don't know. There's just some things about it, like, I mean, you're going to bring a guy in who just got fired for blowing up a Red Sox team. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, he's to blame the most. And a little scapegoaty for Rob Thompson. But he's, again, Rob's the only one you can change where the change could show any effect, even in a short-term situation. You fired Dombrowski today. It's the same old, same old. And listen, Tomper was doing some things that were head-scratchy, but he was also popsicle sticks and bubblegum with parts of this lineup. Dante Nori's batting 308, and we're running out Garcia. Yeah, I mean, Dante Norris is 308, and what's he in, Double-A right now? Or is Dante with the Iron Pigs right now? You know what? Hold on, let me pull this up. Hold on. Trust me, I wanted my Italian brethren up here. Just trying to see where he's at right now. Jeez, why is this being so slow? Yeah, he's with Reading Fighting Phils right now. He's a Double-A. So I'm not putting anything against him, and he did really great in the World Baseball Classic. I wanted a Dante Nori jersey, get a little Italian Team Italy jersey. I would have rocked that. But let's slow our roll with some of these guys. I mean, we just hear guys doing really good in Double-A, and we're ready to put them in the majors. Move him up to the Pigs first, and let's see how he does with that. I read Cora turned down the Phillies manager job. The team needed not Mattingly as his connection. As Robbie, they needed an outsider with no connection to Robbie. Mike, I don't know if it's about that. I think it's more on Dombrowski with the Alex Correa, because I don't understand why we would want this guy. I truly don't understand. Like, no offense, but maybe he would be great. Maybe, but the guy just got fired for the same goddamn problem, and you're going to bring him in? It's like changing a tire with another tire without a nail in it. Like, what's the point? And the guy knows that he got fired. Plus, listen, he's getting paid $7 million not to work. I'm going to stay home. Let me get my brain right, and I'll put my resume back out there. I'll go earn it. Maybe I won't be a head coach next year, but I got $7 million this year. I can go, bank that and maybe get a job somewhere else. So maybe he didn't want to come here. Maybe he didn't want to go from one mess to another, because this team's a mess. It's like somebody threw a giant party in your house and there's food and gunk hanging from the ceilings. Do you want to be the guy who comes and cleans it up after you just threw another party and you got, evicted from your apartment for that reason? That's my bit of the head scratcher. It's a little arrogant for Dombrowski to even discuss it. I would have kept that to myself. And then he says, "Oh, don't worry, Robbie will be normal Tuesday media." But guess what? I was talking to the guy on Saturday about replacing him. The Phillies had their right-handed power bat in Pete Alonso, but they signed one-trick pony Schwarber. Listen, I don't disagree with this at all. I love Kyle Schwarber, and I always have to preface with that. I love Kyle Schwarber, really do. You know, Kyle's a great guy, locker room guy, whatever you want to call him. But yeah, Pete's a right-handed hitter. That's a number one. He gets close to the same, if not the same, as Schwarber production. He can play the field. You could have gave Harper more of a DHing role or broke it up a little bit, whatever. But now you got a guy. I mean, that's my biggest thing. You got somebody who's clogging up the DH role. That's a no bueno in my eyes. So I would have rather seen Pete Alonso. Now I'm not big on bringing in guys like Pete Alonso, because the one hiccup with him is not coming big and throwing big games, which is the last thing we need. But you would have cost you about the same. You would have got close to the same production, possibly. And he's right-handed, which would have really broke up this lineup. And he would have probably bat fourth, too. Like, there wouldn't be a question if Schwarber wasn't here or Schwarber was coming in, he was batting fourth. Like, that's the point. 7M to go fishing and shit. Sign me up. Wait, what's that? 7M to go fishing. 7 million to go fishing and shit. Sign me up. Yeah, no. And listen, the guy probably needs to kind of clear his mind. I mean, whatever Tomper's getting paid. Let's see that. Let's see what he's got. Rob Thompson contract. I want to see what he's getting paid. I don't even know. Signed an extension December. I guess they don't. Salary. Let's see. Hold on. No. It just says he's extended. It doesn't tell you how much he makes. But I'm sure it's a few $1 million. It's probably about half what Carrera's making, maybe more. I don't know. But that's still, I'll give me $100,000 to go do nothing else, and I'll be a happy camper. But that is the bottom line. Bottom line, take one game at a time. Hopefully, this team can make some changes, but I'm not holding my breath for big changes. I'm realistic in this case. So let's take a trip around the base and see what's going on in the rest of the league. All right, for those who are new to the network, trip around the bases means we look at all the scores that are still going on and or gone final on the evening. Detroit is down 5-0 to Atlanta, bottom of the 8th right now. Seattle and Minnesota are in the top of the 7th, knotted up at 1. The White Sox are 4-1 over the Angels right now, on the top of the 7th in Chicago. Milwaukee's up 6-2 over Arizona in the bottom of the 6th. The Yankees are up 1-0 over the Rangers in Texas in the bottom of the 6th. And just started top of the 1st. No score at this point. KC and the A's. It sounds like an old 70s band. KC and the A's. Top of the 1st with no score as well as the Cubbies and San Diego. Warming up right now, didn't start yet, are the Dodgers and Miami. They're in LA, of course. And final on the evening, Tampa Bay 1-0 over Cleveland in Cleveland. Houston lost to Baltimore in Baltimore 5-3. Cincinnati beat Colorado 7-2. St. Louis beat up on Pittsburgh 11-7. Of course, the Phillies won. Yeah, you heard that right. The Phillies won 7-0 over San Fran. And Toronto beat Boston 3-0. So I guess they went back. I think they won 2 games, and then now they're back. Not saying much of anything, but still doing it better at 12-18 than we are at 10-19. But what do I know? And New York beat up on Washington, and they got to 10-19 today as well. 8-0 win over Washington. So they are tied. We are tied in last place with the Mets. Which is just lovely to say. Kind of takes away all the fun from this game alone. Let's see. I didn't want Carrera as I wanted Baker or Bochy. I would have been happy with those guys as well. But Harper and Schwarber wouldn't like it as one of them would be batting fourth. Yeah, I mean, I would prefer Schwarber batting fourth. I don't think Harper would shy away from it, but I just want to really be honest with you, Mike. And in all honesty, like for right now, I would like to see this team just play small ball, manufacture runs. I feel like I say this all the time. Just let the game come back to them. They lost the game, and they lost the love of the game because of all it became they worried about was winning. And when you're doing really well, you can lose a game and you know dust it off your shoulder. This way this season started, every loss just felt like another elephant sitting on your chest, like you can't breathe, and just there was no relief coming. You know what I mean? So again, one game doesn't mean anything, but Don Mattingly is 1-0 as a Phillies manager. Take that for what it's worth. Again, everything hit on all cylinders tonight. Everybody got on base. Many of the guys hit well for the most part. It was what did I ask for the last time I did this? A more steady, or was it I don't know, it was one, or was it Sunday? Just what a treat it would be to have a steady cruise control kind of game for once. Because again, as much as they felt the pressure on their chest, I just felt the not wanting to watch this game. Now listen, I always said I've watched bad baseball. I've been watching it since 1993 religiously. I was 10 years old when they were in 93, what got me hooked, and then 94 and the strike and all that stuff, and then 95 and 96. I kept telling myself it could only get better, right? Well, wrong, at least until 2005, 6, and 7 when things started turning a corner a little bit, and up until 8, and then we had a nice, beautiful run from 8 to 12, and then we were in the dark days again until 21 and 22, more 22 when we really went on a run. And we've had some, we had playoff opportunities. Just, I'm hoping Don Mattingly can learn from what Rob did. And, I'm sure he saw what we saw. Let's see if he just doesn't buy into the same horse crap. But that will do it for the night, guys. It was nice to talk good baseball with you guys. I appreciate you guys as always. Remember, Matty B is coming up, I guess, in about 12 minutes. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Here's the lineup if you missed it when I went over it early. Tomorrow, Mike will be on the call. Then Matt will finish the 3-game series before they head out again. I guess I think they're going to Miami after this, right? Yeah, they head out to Miami this weekend. So quick 3-game homestand. They tend to have success in Miami, so let's as of recently more. And then on the call for the Pittsburgh Penguins, hopefully last game of that series, Flyers win it and call it a day, because if they bring this to a game 7, not liking it. And it's bad enough to know that we're going to have to swallow some baseball this season. If they get swept in 4 games because they were up 3-0, I really it's gonna be a long freaking summer up until football season. Elephant, it's always a pleasure. I appreciate you as always. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning, probably on the messenger with Phil. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. Go Phils, great win. Thank God. Hopefully we could see more into the future. I will talk to you guys on Friday.